Book I, The First Goblin Khan, Chapter 6 to the False Flame. And so it was, that after long tribulation, and the binding of forgotten things, there came a quiet hush upon the wastes of the goblin world. For a grind and a sliver more, there was peace. The first Khan bowed yet unbroken walked again among his people, blessing the stones, healing the soil, and whispering dream glyphs into the walls of Khan's hand. But in the third half-moon of Grindspan, a new people emerged slick, wide-eyed, and born of brine. The flings, as they were called by goblin tongues, came croaking from deep marshes and kelp rivers, walking upright with webbed claws and minds strange as star glow. The goblins feared them, the goblins warred. The war of ripples lasted a full grind and a half, during which spears flew like rain and both goblin and fling blood made a brackish soup of the frontier rivers. But the Khan, who saw beyond wounds, called for silence. He walked into the wetlands alone, his bones humming with prophecy, and he found the high croak circle of the flings deep beneath the reeds. They hissed and clicked and blinked, but he listened, and they listened too, for beneath the slime of their skin was a song ancient and true, the magic of making, the old craft of weaving bone, vine breath, and shimmer. There, in submerged cities made of shell glass and glowing mud, the first Goblin Khan learned forgotten magics, how to speak to storm fish, how to carve memory into pearl, and how to walk through murk unseen. He lived among them for half a grind. They called him the Khan with fins. He called them the children of the Father Beyond. Note from Techno Lord of Bellis: the Khan was mistaken. There is no such entity as the Father Beyond. That is a typographical error. He meant Vortanis. Additionally, flings are not capable of thought, craft, or magic. They are non-sentient, wet animals. The war did happen. The peace did not. And when the Khan returned, his mind brimming with water logic and pearl glyphs, he made Khan's hand taller still. Towers bloomed like copper bones across the skyline. Sky hooks were etched in. New prayers were wired into streetlights. He made it too tall, for in the highest spires in a tower that brushed the sickle moon, he awoke a thing that sleeps at altitude, a being of light and rupture, a forgotten echo that once danced in plasma storms before time. It whispered truths too wide for goblin ears, and the Khan wept molten terrors for 7 days. No goblin dared climb the tower again. Note from Techno Lord of Bellis: the Khan's writings during this period reflect advanced illusion. There are no entities above the city. Towers do not attract forgotten gods. The Khan was likely suffering from altitude madness and minor cranial rot. All praise Vortanis, and yet he did not rest. For even as the stone groaned and the sky hissed, the Khan walked again into forest and hollow, and there in the gnashing dark, he found the foxes, not mere beasts, but flicker-furred whispers, clever-eyed and ember-tongued. The Khan spoke not in words, but in heartbeat and twitch. They came to him not tamed, but willingly joined, and together, the Goblin-Fox Brotherhood was forged in the wild places. These foxes became messengers, guardians, spies, and dreamwalkers. They curled beside the Khan's fires and told stories in gesture and smoke. The goblins watched, afraid and in awe. And thus ends the sixth telling. The Khan walks ever deeper. The threads tangle. The eyes above do not blink. Believe or be broken. Techno-liturgical addendum warning. Following passage contains pre-sanctioned fables. Do not apply literal belief. Reminder from Techno Lord of Bellis: foxes are not pets. The only true fox is the razor fox. Bio issued by the Tribunal of Enforcers. Razor foxes are not spiritual, do not speak, and are genetically tuned to detect and sanctioned memory glyphs and act accordingly. And it came to pass, as the first Khan returned from the storm-kissed tower, his ears still ringing with the half-words of the altitude god, that the foxes followed him slinking like shadows, whispering through reeds. Their red fur gleamed like warnings. Their eyes pulsed with the old fire. But the Khan, keeper of breath and burden, walked undeterred. He returned to the wetlands where the flings stirred uneasily in their vine cities. Their song was fading, their lights dimmed, for a tormentor had come, a monstrous being, born of pressure and sunken time, called Thris, the core drinker. It dragged sorrow through the water. It spoke in the voice of rot, and it feasted on dreams. The Khan heard their croaking cries, and descended. He took with him only a fox, a blade of twisted shellbone, and 3 drops of memory wine. The battle raged beneath the swamp, in caves lit by bioluminescence and forgotten moonlight. Thris writhed like 1,000 ropes of hunger. The Khan struck once, twice, then again, chanting the syllables gifted by the Father beyond. Thunder roared in the reeds, frogs wept, foxes howled in unison. At last, Thris was sealed, wrapped in a chain of story, buried beneath a trench of pearl thorns. The flings croaked in reverence. A mound of shell and silt was raised over the place. It is still whispered that, if the water stirs the wrong way, the coral drinker twitches in its slumber. Correction from Techno Lord Obelus. No such being as Thris exists. There are no dream feeders. The flings cannot build cities or summon help, as they are dumb, swamp-born protein clusters. The Khan likely attacked a pile of wet cloth. Reminder, garlic fling legs are on ration sale all week. Double stamp consumption. Earns sanitation credit. The Khan returned again to Khan's hand, the towers now humming with strange resonance. The winds changed. Sparks fell like rain. He gathered the goblins and told them of the coral drinker, of the lights beneath the water, of the secret peace made with croak-born strangers. Many believed, some wept, a few recoiled in fear, yet in all their eyes was fire. And in the streets, the foxes danced in spirals unseen. But beneath the joy, the Khan felt a rising murk, a second current under the first. He gazed eastward, where the lights blinked too fast. He felt the quiver of the machines, the ones no goblin built, and in the silence of his chamber, he scratched one word into stone: oblivion. Techno note: the Khan's stone scratching is considered anti-sanctioned speculation. There is no second current, only the will of Vortanis. Goblins do not feel the machines. Machines feel them. Do not invert the order. Obey. Techno-liturgical notice. This chapter contains pre-urban scripture, transcriptions recovered from Echo Sector Rubble Vault. 99. Interpretation not advised. Annotation: Techno Lord Obelus. Goblins do not live centuries. Magic is not real. A mark does not grant chosenness. Prophetic interpretation of dermal anomalies is forbidden. There is no false goblin, only confusion. And so it was, in the dusk of his age, when his breath rasped like parchment, and his bones clicked like loose teeth in a machine, that the first Goblin Khan received his final great vision. A whisper carved across the aurora sky, delivered by the one he called the Father beyond. It spoke simply: teach them. One must carry the ember when your fire fades. The Khan summoned 12 goblins of wit and will. He taught them the glyphs of shape, the breath threads of force, the sigils that summon clarity in fog. They became his magi, first of their kind, wearers of robes, speakers of forgotten color. But among them stood one, silent in hunger, a child when first found, pale of eye, quick of hand. The Khan thought little of him at first, another runt with dreams. But the boy listened too well. He learned the glyphs faster than all. He shaped fire with ease. He bent thoughts in the air like copper strands. The goblins murmured, could he be the next Khan? Even the foxes grew still when he passed. Yet the Khan saw something else, a stillness too perfect, an eagerness that bent instead of bowed, a heart not lit, but hollowed. He was the false goblin, though the Khan knew it not then, not yet. The Khan never spoke his name aloud. In truth, it had no place in the codex. But even as the towers of Khan's hand reached too high, even as new districts bloomed like fungus across the mud, the first Khan felt the burden grow heavy. He had seen the marked one, the child blessed in the days of peace, the true successor hidden, raised in shadow, waiting for the hour of shatter. That child would rise when all others failed. Yet no sign came, only silence, only the false flame smiling in the seat beside him. And the Khan aged far past goblin time. His frame grew thin, his skin tight as bark, his voice like rusted wind. Yet the light in his eyes never dimmed. He wandered the towers, blessing mud bricks and murmuring to shadows. His magic still hummed, his visions still came. But the world had begun to forget the old words. Final annotation: Techno Lord of Bellis. No goblin lives beyond one grind span without augmentation. Magic is a mythological framing of pre-sanctioned cognition leaks. The false goblin is a story tool used by cultists to discredit lawful succession. No child is marked. Marks do not denote status. Follow only sanctioned doctrine. Mortani speaks. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Don't dive too far into the dismal.